Emotional day today there and happening tonight. People who call Lemon Grove home get to tell their leaders what they think about a controversial proclamation declaring the city welcoming to immigrants. 10 News reporter Steve Fiorina is joining us. And Steve, you talked to people who are adamant on both sides of this issue.
They certainly are, Kim. If we look over here, it's a mural that the mayor of Lemon Grove points with pride to us. Near City Hall, starts with the Kumeyaay Indians, the Spanish settlers, the pioneers, and into more modern times. Lemon Grove has long been, historically, a welcoming community. The terror attacks of September 11, 2001 changed the world. 15 years later, there's still fear and suspicion. Presidential candidate Donald Trump has campaigned on a platform that includes building a wall at the Mexican border and a hard line on immigration policy. Hillary Clinton says she wants to create a pathway to full and equal citizenship. The Obama White House has encouraged communities to be more welcoming to immigrants. Lemon Grove is among those that have passed a welcoming resolution. And there's opposition.
This Welcome City program has aspects of a propaganda campaign.
Ogden cited the fact that 2 of the 9/11 terrorists lived in Lemon Grove for a while. He thinks the resolution is asking for trouble.
But I think a lot of the refugees today are economic refugees, or they're people coming from areas where there's a lot of terrorism or drug gangs, and I think it's a danger to the residents.
Lemon Grove Mayor Mary Sessom says she's not worried about newcomers.
I feel perfectly fine. The United States government handles immigration. We do not. And if the United States government feels that these folks have been thoroughly vetted and are safe to come into our communities, then welcome. Let's start getting integrated.
The last census showed Lemon Grove has almost 20% of its population as foreign-born. That's significant.
It's very diverse. A lot of immigrants here, mostly the settlers from the East Coast, and the diversity is still here today. It's a very thriving community.
There is no action planned on that resolution tonight. However, verbal fireworks are expected during public comment. We're working on that to bring you some of those comments at 7. Live in Lemon Grove, Steve Fiorina, 10 News.
Steve, thank you. Right now, angry people are waiting their chance to unload on the Lemon Grove City Council.
They're upset about a recent proclamation declaring Lemon Grove as a welcoming city for immigrants. 10 News reporter Steve Fiorina is there, and these people are fired up, Steve.
They are, Steve. The questions, would the city be overrun? Might terrorism loom larger? Very strong opinions on both sides of the issues here tonight. The idea of Lemon Grove as a welcoming city for immigrants does not fly with some of those in the community. The threat of terrorism is one reason.
Well, dangerous because the vetting isn't really being done. Effectively, it is not being done. We're accepting people with no documentation. We believe what they tell us about their background.
Mayor Mary Sessom said Lemon Grove has a history of inclusion.
What we're saying is we support the concept of welcoming these folks into our community to integrate them. But we are not doing anything except saying, you're welcome here.
And there are other arguments against the welcoming proclamation.
If they bring all these people in, what are they going to do with the schools? How are they going to take care of all these kids? And how are they going to take care of the roads?
We're a nation of immigrants. And I wonder how the people who oppose it, where they would be tonight if they had come into a community that didn't welcome them.
Likely to be very intense as the evening wears on. We're watching. We'll bring you the latest at 11 tonight, live in Lemon Grove. Steve Fiorina, 10.
Steve, thank you. And 3 other cities in the county have already passed these welcoming cities resolutions: Imperial Beach, Encinitas, and Solana Beach. However, the proclamation in IB was actually retracted last month because of protests by residents.
People who live in Lemon Grove are fired up about a proclamation declaring the city a welcome place for immigrants. People on both sides of the issue voiced their concerns at a meeting tonight. Supporters say refugees fleeing war should feel welcome in the U.S. Those against the welcoming resolution cite the fact that 2 of the 9/11 terrorists lived in Lemon Grove for a while, and the proclamation is asking for trouble.
Bringing all these refugees in that we don't know if they're vetted, we don't know who they are. It's horrible.
What we're saying is we support the concept of welcoming these folks into our community to integrate them.
Well, the last census showed Lemon Grove has almost 20% of its population as foreign-born.
You're watching CW6 News at 10.
Well, the controversial subject of refugees coming to the United States played out at the local level tonight.
After passing a resolution designating Lemon Grove as a welcoming city, the city council heard from people upset about that resolution, but also from others who welcome it. John Carroll joining us live in the newsroom tonight with more on what both sides had to say. John.
Netta, Jason, the resolution means Lemon Grove is part of the nationwide Welcoming Cities campaign. That's a project of the administration aimed at making refugees fleeing war feel welcome here in the U.S. It has no legal weight. The city isn't obligated to do anything, but to some at tonight's meeting, that does not matter. Some in the crowd made their feelings known long before the public comment period began. They held signs saying no sanctuary city and no welcoming city. And they spoke to the council, letting their feelings be known in no uncertain terms.
Bringing all these refugees in that we don't know if they're vetted, we don't know who they are, it's horrible.
So it's the Welcoming City project. It's a propaganda campaign to try to convince people to accept immigrants and refugees that they normally wouldn't want. And you're not telling the truth about what it is.
A couple of times during Tuesday night's meeting, people began yelling at the council. That caused Mayor Mary Teresa Sessom to call the meeting into recess before order could be restored. At one point, as the mayor tried to answer one man's questions, some in the crowd expressed their disapproval with mocking laughter.
Come on. You know, I'm going to go into recess if I can't get through what I have to say, and I respect what everybody has to say, and I do not interrupt. I would ask the same courtesies.
On the other side, there were those who thanked the mayor and council for the Welcoming City resolution, including one Christian pastor and an imam who immigrated to the U.S. 12 years ago.
And I wonder where they would be tonight if the anger that they express at immigrants had been expressed at their own immigrant ancestors. They would not be here, surely.
And I found San Diego County and Southern California very warmly welcoming. It didn't take me a long time to feel welcomed.
Again, everyone who spoke tonight did so during the public comments section. There was no agenda item having to do with the Welcoming City resolution, hence no action was taken. Jason?
All right, thanks a lot, John.